Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another Super Tease video, and Blizzard has just revealed the tier set appearances for the next expansion, The War Within. These are very coveted armor sets, historic even throughout multiple spanning expansions, and it's really important that they look cool and awesome. So in today's video, we are going to be reviewing all of these tier set appearances for every class and seeing which ones ended up on top. And if you want to make sure that you're staying up to date with news related to World of Warcraft, then smash that subscribe button. Your support is greatly appreciated. Now let's get started. The first one here is the Death Knight. This is going to be the Exhumed Centurion's Relic. We can see all the levels of difficulty as well as PvP available to us. The mythic level difficulty appears to be kind of, flavoring towards the Blood Loa in the Zandalari of BFA a little bit, focusing more on that blood element of the Death Knight, which I kind of like. This is a bit unique, a different perspective or take on the Death Knight fantasy specifically. I think the colors on this mythic set are highlighted really well here. This is looking like a pretty awesome set on the whole. For heroic, you're going to be getting a purple void midnight version of this set. While it's still following the same layout and plan, you're going to be really spiky. You ain't giving hugs out to people in this transmog. If you want to get something lined up on the more of the void element, considering that this is kind of like the void saga, the heroic version of this one looks like the set to go after. For normal, we got like a water bender version of it with blue ice crystals kind of vibe to it, so maybe more of like a frost feel if you wanted to go for this. Although this doesn't look, I wish it was tilted a little bit more on the icy side of the blue as opposed to the darker side of the blue. It looks more like a standard alliance set than anything else on normal. For raid finder, this one actually looks pretty interesting with the green coloring against the brown, kind of like a jungle plate set for Death Knights specifically. But I think out of all the PvE sets, for sure, the mythic one is kind of my favorite. I think the Blood Loa take here with the Death Knight set is fantastic. For PvP specifically, we've got the non-elite and the elite set. So the non-elite set is going to be full green, like you're camouflaged going into the jungle in the military or something is what it kind of looks like with this one. Not really digging this one so much as compared to the mythic one, but the elite set has got green tinges on the outside, but with red armor. I'm curious to see if this is going to be like a faction specific one, because usually the elite sets, it'll switch between blue and red are the colors that they tend. So I wonder if like on Alliance, this one will be blue, on the Horde, it'll be red. The green and the red kind of conflict for me, at least in coloring. I kind of wish that it was just like all one color scheme. I feel like these two colors against each other are not super appealing. So definitely think that mythic won out for Death Knight. Definitely, I think, A, maybe S tier as far as mythic is concerned. But for the elite and the PvP sets, kind of just met at the moment for me in terms of my ranking for them. We've got the Demon Hunter, which is the husks of the Hypogeal Nemesis. It sounds like he's got allergies or something. The mythic set looks absolutely dope. Oh my god, this is disgustingly cool. Look at all the little highlights on the horns coming off of this and all the little claws coming through from this. This does give me more of like a spider vibe, which is what the raid is based about, with still feeling aesthetically like a Demon Hunter that isn't just fell green. They've actually achieved a Demon Hunter set that looks awesome, that isn't just restricted to fell green. I think that's amazing. This thing looks really sick on mythic. Heroic, it seems like it's like the void set across all the classes potentially. We'll have to see if that keeps up, but it looks amazing as well if you want to be a void Demon Hunter. The horns, the highlights, the coloring on this looks absolutely fantastic. I'm really hoping I'm not going to be disappointed in the PvP versions of this. Normal is following the same color scheme. We get a blue set here specifically. I want something more water elemented. Feels a little bit more like a dragon set, honestly, when you get to this blue color. For Demon Hunter, to me, I don't know if anybody else feels that way. Not a big fan of the normal. I think the heroic and mythic are definitely winning out. For Raid Finder, same kind of color scheme. We got the green, but the blue and the green, and the color's kind of all over the place with this last one. So, maybe you like that type of color scheme that's a little bit strange. Maybe that's why they wanted to keep it like that, but not the biggest fan. For PvP, it looks like they did stick to the fell green, though. The normal one, I think, looks better than the elite one. Am I wrong about this? I mean, I think that this looks really cool. All the brightness in it, the Fell Legion with the fire mixed together with immolation and Fell magic. Like, the normal set looks really good with this. I honestly think that these should be flipped around, and this one should be the elite one, and this one should be the non-elite one. Maybe that is the case. I don't know, because it says PvP 1 and PvP 2. We don't know 100% which one is the elite or the non-elite, I guess, off of this data mining right now. But they both look decent. I think this green one, if you want to make like a chameleon-looking set, could definitely work really well for that. But this one's fitting more standard. Probably going to be having some interchangeability as well with previous PvP sets. I'm thinking for my Demon Hunter from like Legion or something. So you could probably make a lot of like mixed match sets that would be really cool with the Demon Hunter one specifically. For Druid, we've got the Mane of the Great Lynx. And this is the first set I feel like that really focuses around like cats. We got like a cat head on the side. Look like a superhero from like an 80s movie or something, or an 80s cartoon. With this one, we get the silver and yellow fox type of look with this cat onto the side. Feral Druid's finally getting some love. We get the cat on the belt as well as the claws, the kitty cat claws onto the boots. I think this looks like a very solid set overall, and very different from previous Druid sets. Maybe it tampers a little bit on almost being a Shaman set, but I feel like it balances it decently well that I could see this on a Druid. Now for Heroic, we've got more of like a golden lion type of take for this. So Heroic looks to me a little bit more appealing than the Mythic one. Mythic one's kind of silvered out, but the gold lion type, if you're an Alliance player, this looks like a really sick kind of set to be walking around with as Alliance. For normal, following down into the blue set, but this is that icy touch. This is what I was talking about. I wish the Death Knight had with the normal blue set, because I actually think this looks really cool, like a Frost Feral Druid out in the Arctic North or something. This looks really awesome so far. All the color schemes look really good here for Druid. And then for Raid Finder, we got a green one that I think this one fits nicely. You kind of feel like a Tundra Druid, like Borean Tundra. You'd be clawing through those. You can see the more details on the Mark of the Wild kind of icon on the back with this one as opposed to the other. It's kind of hidden on this purple and this brown and this kind of purplish brown color, but you can clearly see like the Druid claw on the back with this one. It actually looks very clean. Now for PvP, you're going to get like a Frigid one. Maybe this is like Alliance and Horde, because these are two separated like this, but just looks like the Frost one up above. Maybe like a slightly less coloring, so it's like more snowy oriented kind of Druid. And then the full red one looks like this would be like the Horde one, like you'd really want to go after this. I like how the paw on the back really comes out on this one specifically. So this is kind of what just ties it in as being the Druid set. Really like the highlights on the shoulders with the lights coming out for the claw and the eyes as well. I think Druid is definitely eating pretty good with this set. Now Evoker, this is probably like one of the best sets in the game. I feel like Evoker doesn't get a lot of these, and unfortunately you're just stuck in Dudley the Dragon form most of the time, so you don't really get to flex this anyways, but you're gonna get a really sick, just like scaled down, almost like Deathwing scaled dragon look, and fire coming out of your shoulders, and the highlights on this gear. I really like this. We're getting a pink version of it for Mythic, an orange version of it for Heroic, and kind of like a purple icy blue version of it for normal. This green one looks sick from Raid Finder specifically. And then for PvP, we've got red, which looks really solid, yellow or golden. So if you want to go for a golden looking set, looks really good from the front, at least the highlights on the shoulders. I don't know if it's just because when they timed the screenshot with the animations of the fire or something, but like this one on the right looks really good compared to this one on the red in terms of like overall presence. But that might just be the timing of the screenshot specifically, but Evoker looks really good. Evoker looks really, really good. Really, really, really good. Hunter, we've got Lightless, Scavengers, Necessities. I feel like Hunters don't get a lot of good sets very often. I feel like male armor types, they don't really, pop off, but that Evoker one does look really good. For Hunter, it's interesting. I almost have to like zoom in on this one to try and see what's going on here. So we got like a death kind of skull, like a Death Stalker set. Everything's like a skeleton of an animal. It's kind of like a ghostly vibe to it, like a ghost Pokemon type of deal here, going with this Mythic version of it. If you're into that type of aesthetic, the green one looks more like mountain rangey. You just picked up the skull of your fallen beast animal friend, and you're taking them with you now on your shoulder, or maybe it was your top kill or something like that. Normal, the blue set, following the same type of trend, more of like an Arctic Tundra look. For Raid Finder, it looks like you've been mucking around in the swamplands a little bit with the Raid Finder one specifically. Definitely digging the dark purple though from Mythic specifically. For PvP, we got a green and a red one. Pretty standard looking archer sets with this one. I kind of want to see this like on an orc and like how big the shoulder pads are specifically, because this thing could look really cool if this little skull on the shoulder is massive or something like that. Color scheme looks decent for the PvP ones though specifically. Although I would say Hunter maybe is lower ranking at this point between all the other tier sets. Mage, this is one that really popped off the page to me when I saw it initially, and I think seeing all the different colors of it is going to lock that in. This red one looks so cool. All the little spirals going on the shoulder, the crown with the laser lights coming through. They've definitely leveled leveled up their game overall with all of these enhancements towards these elite sets. These are some of the best elite sets I think we've seen in a long time. I feel like the last really like super poggers set of elite sets was, you know, maybe Tumas Sargeras from Legion, but this Mage one looks rad. This looks really sick. The purple one, oh my god, if you want to be part of Dalaran, you got to get the heroic set. Maybe the PvP one will be purple as well. I'm hoping it is, because this one just looks like your Khadgar, all suited up and ready to go for battle. This one looks dope. Also, if you have the WoD challenge mode staff, I think that would look fantastic with this one specifically. We get the icy Arctic type of vibe going with this one, and then the shallow green if you're like a water aquatic type of mage, or you want to be looking for that type of look. For PvP, oh my god, PvP got it. I can't believe it. We got it. This reminds me of the Paladin tier 4. I love this look for Mage specifically. It's like a Paladin tier 4 color palette onto a Mage armor set. This thing looks so cool. This is right now, this is the best one that I've seen so far. The red one, not so bad either. I think it's well fitted together. Kind of fits with like the Scarlet vibe, considering we've got like the Crusade, I think, or what are they called, coming from the Arathi Highlands down there. Kind of get that vibe from them with the Scarlet, but this is like, I'm gonna have to play a Mage, bro. I have to play a Mage. I have to play a Mage if this is what's gonna be coming my way here. For Windwalker monks, or monks in general, I feel like monks haven't really gotten a sick looking set in a long time. They're focusing around on the Black Ox, it looks like, with this set. So with Druids, they went for the cat. With monk, they're going with the Ox. We can see that on the shoulder in the ox horns. Definitely fits that aesthetic. We got the kilt. I don't see a lot of kilt transmogs anymore. I actually think that this looks pretty cool. I like the mix of this. Well put together. Nice color scheme for Mythic. Got a bit more of a purple highlight for Heroic. Not personally my taste. Really like this red and kind of ice blue color scheme, though, for Normal. Normal looks pretty fire. Raid Finder, they've switched to the green. They got that blue and then that green kind of rotation going through this. Looks really solid for a green set. And for PvP specifically, oh no, I don't know if we won out here for PvP. I'm not a big fan of this. The red on the green, it reminds me too much of Christmas. It's like a Christmas Windwalker monk walking around. Not a big fan of this one. Definitely think that this one's a bit better in terms of color scheme, but still the red and the green next to each other for some reason. To me, it just constantly makes me think of Christmas. Not that Christmas is bad, but when I'm just, you know, on the battlefield in war, I don't want to be thinking about Santa Claus and cookies so much. So not a big fan of the color schemes for the PvP specific ones, but this top one focusing on the black Ox, I think looks really good for monk. Now on to paladins. Okay, we've got some modeled wings here that look like they've got some fire animations coming off of them as well. This looks very interesting for paladins specifically. For heroic, we got the void version of it. I almost wish that they did a void version for every single one of them, considering the theme of the expansion. I think there needs to be a void color scheme for every single tier set. At least one set of these gears needs to be void oriented, but the void angel looks really cool. We've got an ice angel. We've got kind of the green aesthetic coming through with the teal colors for Raid Finder, and for PvP specifically, they went with red and green. It's kind of strange for them to go with red and green instead of blue and red, which they normally go with. Green kind of makes you look like a plague paladin, which I kind of like because it's like the juxtaposition of being a paladin, but then also being plague oriented. Red one makes me think of like you're just like a horde paladin. Specifically, so not so bad with that. Interesting juxtaposition with the paladin, but I don't think it's topping what the mage has done, but maybe this one will. The priest, bro, oh my god, the void angel wings coming off the side and out of the front of the mask and on the front of the belt and on the highlights of the glove. Priest is that's a winner, baby. That is a winner right there. So Mythic definitely looking like a solid option for the priest set here. I like the scarlet vibe with this one, with the red and the gold here. I think that fits really good with the aesthetic, and then switching the red out for some purple. All of these color schemes look really good for the priest so far. Just straight up yellow across the board. And now PvP specifically, please don't be red and green. Don't be red and green. Okay, it's not red and green. It is red and then just like straight ghost. Okay, we got like yellow and white on with this one. You can see the real highlights of like the face of it's almost like a Naru projecting from the front of the skull, which I think is really cool. Priest is easily like a winner. I think this is up with Mage. Easily up with Mage, with Priest specifically here. For rogues, cool set here. It's like an ethereal trader set. I don't think we've gotten something like that. This looks really cool. All this little ghost spikes oozing out on top of them from the void. I really like this one. And the little bandages on the side to make it look like you're the ethereal trader in the shadows. I think that looks awesome. Now this is more of like a death-oriented color scheme to me. I think like, you know, Death Knights and Necrolords type of vibe with this one. This one looks really cool. We had a straight blue, kind of more plain, basic version of it from normal. Not my favorite personally in terms of the color scheme. For Raid Finder, the orange highlights look sick on this. This is rad, dude, with the little eye sockets coming out in orange as well. Really like the orange highlights on this with the silver and the black. This looks actually dope for Raid Finder. And for PvP, thank God we're getting a purple one. I was going to be like, okay, I got to make a mage, I got to make a rogue, I got to make a priest, I think at this point. The red highlights look just as fire here as the orange ones do, but I'm really glad we're going to have a void option as well. Although that ethereal trader, the bandage color on this one just doesn't doesn't come across on any of the other ones as highlighted to me. The rest of them feel like just kind of like shadow rogue sets, but then the ethereal trader bandages on the mythic one, I wish that we could see the bandages more clearly on the other versions of it, so they all felt like an ethereal. For Shaman, this is a very strange take here. What is going on here? We got like a rock floating out of the top of our head. It almost reminds me of Kel'Thuzad. This is completely different. It's like they're going with like the death side, because I think Shamans become Warlocks or something like that, right? There's some sort of synergy between those in terms of the lore, so maybe they're going on to the opposite side of that end of it, because you literally look like a Kel'Thuzad fanatic with these skeleton shoulders, and like this could be like a ziggurat coming out of your skull or something. This is very different. I honestly don't know how to react to this. Let's see what the different colors look like. You got straight up blue with the crystal coming through the top. I think this looks, you know, pretty solid. Normal, just standard blue set coming across this. I really think, yeah, the plague oriented colors are probably going to look better with this, or purple, you know, dark green and purple probably look the best for this. Raidfinder looks solid. PvP, we got the dark green on one of them, and then we got like the silver look here with the dark green crystal. I'm not a big fan of the color schemes. I feel like if they popped the colors on these shoulders, like the highlights of the shoulders and the skeleton, outlining the skeleton a bit better on some of these, that I think in the chains, you know, just a bit more color on those, a little bit highlighting, better lighting, I think it could look really solid. It's a completely different look though, and maybe in game it's going to look a lot better than it does here, but I think Shaman, much like the changes that maybe you're not getting so far on the alpha, your set's not looking too hot either along those lines. Warlock, what are they doing with Warlock, bro? This is sick, dude. It's like the extended 6 arms like Guru from Mortal Kombat, or like the Shivara, I think that they're called, from the demon worshippers, and they've got those projecting behind you. This thing looks amazing. Oh my god, and it fits perfectly with the fell green. We got the little eyeball on top for your like little seeker eye to be able to, your eye of Gul'dan, the purple crossing that, kind of more on the succubus element of it with the kind of with the front, with the shirt and the top. I think this is really cool. I like this one a lot for Warlock specifically. This looks sick. And then we get the Void version of it. Oh my god, it actually gets better. The Heroic version is insane with the Void version of it as well. And then Normal, I think it's actually pretty decent. It's a different kind of color scheme to it. Wonder if there's any like sets you could match with this outside of this set to make it look a little bit more interesting, but that color's not too bad. And honestly, this one for Raidfinder, it's like, I like the different colors that they went with this one. These ones really highlighted a lot better with the orange. It's almost like Egyptian, like the Ra, like the sun god or something. I don't know if we just didn't catch the animation on the arms, or if Raidfinder doesn't get the arms version of that, which would be sad for people who do Raidfinder. PvP, we got more plague oriented with the dark green. I like this one for PvP, kind of just being like a plague bringer and being like a necromancer and summoning back from the dead with the purple. And then red looks radical. This thing looks really sick with like the blood vibe, as if you've just been draining all of the minions of blood. Okay, Warlock is a winner, man. I got to make too many classes, dude. There's too many sick looking sets. There's too many sick looking sets here. Okay, for Warrior, we've got like, okay, what is this, like kind of like a snowy dwarf, kind of like antlers coming off from the rams. I think these are meant to be ram heads onto the sides of this with the purple. I like the highlights on the horns. The highlights look good here. Little padding onto the side, kind of like ox traveling. A little bit more woolly oriented, kind of a bit of a different take for Warrior than we normally see. Heroic with it kind of more of a highlighted green. I do like the highlights on the horns. Normal looks really well put together, just a completely unified set here. And then Raidfinder with the green underwear. I don't know why that's the first thing that my eyes went to. Don't judge me. It's not sus, okay? Raidfinder looked pretty good. And then for PvP, red one looks pretty cool with the highlights across the white and then the blue. I really like that color scheme. Not a super big fan of this one, though, with the orange. It's just doesn't look 100% to me. I really like this red one. So I'm hoping this red one's the elite one. Not the biggest fan of the Warrior. I feel like Warrior and Shaman, probably not the big winners here, but Warlock, Mage, and Priest, oh my god, and Rogue. Oh my god, those looked amazing. I really like those. So hope you guys enjoyed this review and listing of these tier sets. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.